Yo, what's poppin'? Wow. Wow. Oh, they bogus. 2 KB on one. Good boy. Oh. Mm. What? Step up. of D, bro. Mm. Wow. No, 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 no. All right, all right. Mm. Oh, bro, watch out, bro, watch out. Mm. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh my gosh, man. Oh, bro, don't let him score. Oh, come on, man.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Rick Ashiar of the Gathering Christ Church, as you all know, here with Elder Lawyer, week 9 of your Hebrew and Bible Academy. Okay, I'm going to put the chat on hold, but of course, Elder Dell, will monitor the video and audio in case there's issues and let us know if something needs fixing on this side. Okay, so don't worry about it. If you have any issues, make sure you refresh your computers. Okay, jumping right in. Week 9 of our Hebrew and Bible Academy, the judgment of the Gentile nations. Now, instead of going through all the nations, okay, like in your lesson, right? What we're going to do is we're going to go into more so highlighting the head nation who's leading all the other Gentile nations into their own peril, and the judgment that leads up to the war in Iran. The war we are about to witness on earth was prophesied. So I'm going to stay within those parameters to do like a double class, a class on the academy class and real-time prophecy, the judgment of the nations. Now there's a lot going on right now in the earth. You hear Iran in the news continually being what I would claim demonized, running up to war the same as other countries like Iraq was demonized before they attacked and destroyed them. Libya was demonized. On and on and on. Afghanistan, all these other countries. But what does the Bible say concerning this, and what is it leading to? You are about to find out in the judgment, with this lesson, the judgment of the nations. Get your pen and pad. We're going to use some of what's in your particular PDF, but a lot we're going to use based on, past lessons and information we've compiled up until this time. So add what we have into your lesson on the judgment of the nations. Now, first and foremost, we must understand the prophecies. You all know that there's greater war. When I say prophecies, the role players within prophecy. We all know that this battle in the earth, the wars, is really a war it has always been a war between Jacob, the younger brother, and Esau, our elder brother. And eventually Esau would get all the other nations siding with him to fight against the children of promise. But all in all, there's consequences. If these Gentile nations side with Esau, there's a judgment on all of them. So we're going to go into this, first showing you Christ prophesying who he would war against, and by detail break down from Esau all the way to Revelations. Okay, Genesis to Revelations, the final war. The war against Iran, which leads to the war of Armageddon. Now I want to go here first, eventually we'll deal with the judgment of the gods, the nations who are leading the Gentile nations, or the gods who are controlling the Gentile nations. Well, let's jump right in. War is at the door, the judgment on the Gentiles. Let's go to Matthew 24.
St. Matthew chapter 24, verse number 1.
Yes.
And Yeshua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yeshua said unto them, See ye not all these things?
Wow.
Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
Now what was Christ showing the disciples here? What was he showing them? The last temple built while the children of Israel was still within the borders of Israel. Before the fall of Jerusalem, Christ showed them the great temple. He was showing them the eventual destruction of our homeland. See all these things? One stone will not be left on top of another. Jerusalem will fall. War. Now this is a war. This is the Most High moving the Gentiles against Israel. The judgment of the nations starting with us. That the Most High would send the nations to war against us for disobedience. Read.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?
What shall be the sign of thine coming, Jacob, and the end of the world? What world? Esau's world. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9 tells us, let's get that real quick. 2nd Ezra 6 and 8. What world? To thy precepts thy understanding.
They let this nigga catch up.
2nd Ezra chapter 6.
Verse 8 and 9.
Verse 8. And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the hill.
What you doing, girl?
For Esau is the end of the world.
Esau is the what?
For Esau is the end of the world.
Esau is the end of the world. So this is showing us that the Roman Empire is Edom. Christ is prophesying at the height of the Roman Empire, warning and telling the disciples of the signs to come, the things that they would need to view or Israel must go through before his second coming. What should be the signs of thine coming? Well, Esau is what?
The end of the world.
The end of the world. Read.
And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
And at the end of the world, I'm coming to save the children of Israel. This is what Christ is telling the disciples. When shall these things be, and the sign of thine coming? See? What world is it talking about? Go back to Matthew 24 again.
Sure. Book of Matthew chapter 24.
Come on.
Verse number 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world?
And of the end of the world. Who's at the end of the world? When will Esau's empire end? Is what the disciples is asking. So this is a direct correlation with Esau's rulership. Christ must take him down in order for Jacob to receive the promise. Got that? You have another precept of the Lord?
Yes, sir. The book of Hebrews chapter 9, verse number 26.
Hebrews 9 and 26, read it.
For then must he have often suffered since the foundation of the world, but now once in the end of the world,
of the world,
hath he appeared to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself.
So he was sacrificed in the end of the world. What nation sacrificed Christ? The Roman Empire. Esau. See, that Esau is the end of the world, and Christ was sacrificed during the height of the Roman Empire. Who is Edom? Who is Rome?
Oh, that's a steal.
Got it? Go back to Matthew 24.
Yes, sir.
What a job.
Say Matthew chapter 24, verse number 3.
Come on.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world?
What shall be the sign of thine coming?
Oh, no, I went for the steal. That's why you got in front of him.
The world. Here's the sign. Read.
Verse 4. And Yeshua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
Come on. Many antichrists in the earth, predominantly Christians. Go on.
Verse 6.
Oh.
And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
You shall hear of what?
And ye shall hear of wars and
Them
rumors
niggas look the
of
same.
wars.
Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of
What the
news circulation.
That's my fault, man.
War. All over the earth you'll hear rumors. The Bible is prophesying the news programs we hear today. Every other day on the news you hear of a new war. These are signs
You
of
had
Christ.
a wide open dunk.
Wars and rumors of wars. But why? Why is there war? Well, you're going to find out that the Most High would begin to do what?
Hey, you can throw oops,
Turn
bro.
the
You can throw oops, man. I got my live shooting finish on Hall of Fame.
Against another. Now, even though they were all complicit with our captivity, this is where they agreed. But eventually, Esau would begin to double cross the nations. He would begin to double cross them because they believe that they're all in it equally to rule over Jacob. Well, Esau the whole time was saying, well, no, I'm the firstborn. Okay. If you help me take down my brother, I'll give you rulership, but there's no equality. I rule by default. So eventually,
Wow.
Esau would begin to double cross the Gentiles who was complicit with him, who conspired with him against the children of Israel. And it would lead to war. Hold that, and let's go to the book of Obadiah. The book of Obadiah.
The book of Obadiah, verse 1.
Yes.
The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle.
Now, brothers and sisters, when you hear that word heathen, heathen only means Gentile nation. Okay? It just means a non-Israelite, for those who are fairly new in this. Heathen and Gentiles are synonymous. Okay?
Gross.
Read that again.
Gross,
The book
bro.
of Obadiah, verse 1. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle.
Arise ye, and let us rise up against him. So these are Gentiles now who are now coming to the understanding that they were double-crossed. Okay, this is this.
What are you doing, girl?
Working outside.
We have helped Esau take down his brother Jacob.
What up, hey,
We
Les?
enslaved Israel throughout the four corners of the earth.
What's
And
cracking,
now
bro?
Esau is using the same tactics he used against his brother. He's using them on us. So eventually the Gentiles would come together and conspire against Esau.
Sorry, you have to witness this. Why are you out there with no shoes on? What are you doing?
Jacob. Let's go to the conspiracy. And let's hold that because there's some stuff I want to get out of the book of Obadiah. I know I'm jumping, but the Spirit is taking me through this so we can give you an outline of crying.
Ain't nobody asked. Who gave you permission you can work outside?
The war we are about to experience. Why it's happening. Who are the characters? What are they feeling? What are the emotions that are steering them into really their own downfall? Okay? These wars, even though it's trouble for us to some degree, They're good because
I'm sorry you have to witness that, man.
Of these wars unscathed. It's worse for them. These wars. Let's get the characters. Psalms 83. Yes.
Psalms chapter 83, verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent.
They have consulted nations, the heathens, with one consent. They are in agreement. Read.
They are confederate against thee.
And they are what? A confederate, an army, a political children of God.
What up, bro?
Know their titles today? The United Nations. That's the label they use today, the UN. It's a confederate of all nations, a political board. And their political agenda is to reinstate or to reinforce, to fight, suppress the children of Israel. They are a confederate
of Moab and the Hagarenes.
You have the Ishmaelites, Arabs, Moab.
Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur, or the Assyrians, also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Selah.
The children of Lot is Moab and Ammon. It's all the countries that conspired with the Jordanians and the Palestinians to cut off the borders once the Romans began to destroy us in 70 AD. We had an escape plan in certain areas to escape, in certain canals and all that, or rivers or certain mountainous areas. And the Palestinians, the children of Lot, along with the Jordanians, blocked the ways. Shut the gates, shut the doors so that the Romans could utterly annihilate men, women, and children. And guess what? The Most High haven't forgotten the children of Lot. I'm going to go into that also today. He haven't forgot you. And that's why I told these brothers and sisters, y'all can follow Jezebel to Jordan if you want. You go to Jordan and you're there when this war happens, guess what? You will be burnt. You will go up in the inferno that was prophesied to happen in that area. And I'm going to show you. Even Amalek, who's over in Israel today, he's not going to be in that region when Christ comes. He's setting that place up for a 6 million man, woman, and child sacrifice. They're going into Kittim, which is Cyprus, before they go back into Rome. They're not even going to be over there. And I told those brothers and sisters, y'all can follow that Jezebel over there in Jordan if you want, but I've read the prophecies concerning Jordan. They conspired against us by locking the doors. When I say locking the doors, not physical locking the doors, all the escape areas that were around Israel, the Jordanians and the Palestinians shut off. They made a garrison so that the Roman armies could kill our men, women, and children. War. So as a pretext of that, keep in mind, folks, because of this, the Most High now has Amalek double-crossing the Palestinians and are killing the Palestinians right now the way they did it to us, blocked off certain areas and killed us off. That's your Jewish Palestinian war today. Double-cross. He double-crossed them. He made them believe that they would have equality and power, equal power with him over the earth, reigning over the children of Israel in slavery. See? I'm highlighting that because I'm going to talk about them today, the children of Lot. Our cousins. Our cousins turned on us. Read.
Jumping down to verse 12. Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession.
That's war, folks. The spoil of war are what? Slaves. War. The spoil of war, all through the scriptures, when the Most High says, when you take down their land, you kill the men. All in the Old Testament, we would take the women and children in servitude and treat them correctly, but that's the spoils of war. Read.
Verse 12. Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my God, make them like a wheel as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with tempest and make them afraid with thy storm.
So the judgment is coming with what? A storm, tempest, fire. I'm going to show you what that is. Shaphat showed those missiles earlier. Brothers and sisters, those missiles are prophesied in the Bible. They're prophesied. So we know the nations who've always conspired against Israel will go down in the tempest, the fire, war. Let's go back to the book of Obadiah.
Obadiah, verse number 1, chapter 1.
Yeah, let's go back to where we were. Yeah.
Obadiah chapter 1, verse 1. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor of the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle.
Let us arise up against Edom in battle. Read.
Verse 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised.
You're the smallest of all nations, Esau. But you're greatly despised by the other nations. Why? Esau double-crossed them. It was one thing to do it to the children of Israel, in which they were in agreement with. But hey, Esau is Esau. He's not going to stop there. Okay, Esau's desire is to rule the whole earth, as was promised to his father Abraham, Isaac. That's Esau's desire. The Gentiles should have known that. He would just use you, Gentiles, to get to us. He would just use you. And once he insulated or isolated so much power and quantified power under his own power, helped by you, he would use those resources and that power to destroy all of his enemies. Okay, anyone who would oppose him. Okay, that's how Esau thinks. That's how he works. Read.
Verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
Now Esau has become proud. He gained full power and full ownership of the bank systems. He began to finance proxy wars.
Hey, Slim.
Against lesser nations.
Switch with Twan.
To keep power.
Let them guard the center.
That's how it worked.
Let them play
Now
center.
the nations are looking at each other and saying, let's stop fighting each other and focus on the people who are bankrolling these wars. It's time for us to war against him. An ambassador rose up and said, let's go up against Esau in battle. Let's fight him. And this is why, folks, George Bush and others had to go into the Middle East and begin these wars. Because these nations in the Middle East began to talk about, they began to conversate one against another.
Wow.
Esau been playing us against each other. This wasn't the plan. If we don't begin to unite as a one Middle Eastern country against Esau, it's in the plans for them to take us out. So they began to kick the banks and all this out of the Middle East and to control their own currency. And when they began to do that, the Bushes were like, well, you know what? We're going to topple one country at a time until we get to the brains behind And there's a brain in the Middle East that's behind bringing the Middle Eastern heads and ambassadors together. Iran. We got to topple them until we get to the brain. The brain is Iran. And let me show you where that'll end. I know I'm all over the place, but stick with me for a second because I'm going to show you how this culminates up until this particular moment, according to prophecy. What's going to happen with Donald Trump? What is he being utilized for? I'm going to show you. Finish reading.
Verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
Who saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
My mama.
But we know who's prophesied to bring me down. Read.
Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle,
The Roman Empire,
and though thou set thy nest among the stars,
the space stations, and also
Hey, throw it up, bro. You can throw it up.
outside of the firmament is the saltine vertical track, the space defense system. They've
What the?
They've already built the space defense system, where missiles aren't just for the people within the earth during war. It's also antimatter weapons to fight for something that comes into the earth, or beings that would come into the earth. It's called the saltine vertical track. They set their nest amongst the stars. What is this? A military space station, prophesied by our prophets, shown to the prophets by our God. Esau's plans. He's not looking just to take the earth, folks. Satan's plan with Esau is to go out and take and rule from the heavens, to fight against angelic forces. Okay? I'm going to go more into that in the judgment of the gods. But their plan is not just this war here. Satan promised to fight against God himself. So he said, so the prophets tell us, he set
Come on, y'all.
amongst the stars. For what? War. War, folks. His pride of deceiving. And why did the Lord give that to the prophet, that his pride of deceiving? Satan have given you the brain and the wisdom to take down the whole earth. And now you're taking that understanding, and through that, through your delusion,
2K doing this on purpose,
have now convinced
man.
yourself
What the
that you can fight against God himself.
Wow.
You're delusional. You're prideful. So they have weapons, folks, pointed into space. Not into the earth. They got some pointed to the earth to knock down missiles. I'm going to go into that later. But they have also antimatter weapons for out in space. And this is why they began years ago to build CERN. C-E-R-N. Look it up. CERN is a spiritual weapon that opens up portals. So their pride is not that I'm going to just take the earth. My pride is now I have enough weaponry to fight against God himself. CERN. Check that out. Read.
Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle,
Hold up.
nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord.
But when you begin to build your space jump in heaven, that's when the prophecies will begin to unfold, in which I will begin to shorten the days, give you less time. Thence will I bring you down. I'll cut your time short now. Read.
Verse 5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night.
I'm going to go to that later, but I wanted to get the head honcho in these wars. Esau is behind all the wars. The Bible tells us that Amalek is the head of the nations. He's the head of the UN. He's the head of all of the Gentile the Gentiles, nations, and worlds. He's the power on earth over all Gentiles. So there's no war in the earth he doesn't know about, because the majority of them, believe it or not, he's behind. Amalek, Esau, Rome is behind the majority of the wars we see in here. And that's why Christ said at the very end, you shall have wars and rumors of war. But Esau will create these wars in the earth. These proxy wars. To weaken the nations he conspired with, and by default gain power over them, to control them toward his last army. I'm going to go there. So if they weaken each other, eventually they'll need an alliance. And with this alliance, Satan will use this alliance to fight against Christ. So these are all proxy wars in the earth created by Satan, by Amalek, but he deceived himself. Why? Because in the prophecy, the Most High himself prophesied his spirit that would be amongst this war, unbeknownst to Edom. Esau is so prideful, he's just looking at his power, ingenuity, and schematics in the war, to the degree in which he stopped viewing or understanding the Most High's hand in it. So it's twofold. Is what the nations are conspiring to insulate power, but it's also how the Most High is using that weakness to raise Israel at the same time. While they fight against each other, our people are beginning to wake up. And then he has a special component, idea through science, that he gave the Gentiles to destroy one another. Go ahead, Lord.
Yes, sir. St. Matthew chapter 24.
Come on.
Verse number 4.
Yes.
And Yeshua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
But he says, make sure, Israel, make sure those who believe in me, you are not to be troubled. Don't get beside yourself. Israel shouldn't panic. Don't panic. I got you. This is what Christ is saying here. But the end is not yet. Read.
Verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation.
Race against race. Race.
And kingdom against kingdom.
An empire against an empire. These are the times we're living in. We're currently living in the times that Christ is talking about. Read.
And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
Now, all of what Christ is talking about is a result of what? War. War. Infrastructure.
Ow, stop, bro.
Actually being totally decimated through war.
Cut out.
Which leads diseases, famine, on and on and on. And Christ is telling us, listen, you are not to be troubled through this. I'll bring you through this. Now, let's go into a few of the prophecies here. Genesis 49 on Edom. Isaiah 63. Revelations 19.
The book of Genesis chapter 49.
Let's start at where it talks about the wine press.
The book of Genesis chapter 49 verse 10. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come. And unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Binding his foal unto the vine, and his donkey's colt unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes.
So Christ will do what?
He washed his garments in wine, and
his garments will be washed in wine. Christ's garments. When he come back, he'll come back with a pure, clean, clear, unspotted vesture, garment on his vesture. Total white, not one spot. By the time he's done, blood red. Read.
He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine.
His eyes shall be red with wine.
And his teeth white with milk.
This is his war against Edom. His war against the Edom. Revelation 19 and 11.
Revelation chapter 19, verse 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness doeth he judge and make war.
In righteousness does Christ does what? He do what?
And in righteousness doeth he judge and make war.
He judge and make war. Read.
Verse 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God.
The Word of the Most High, and we know that's Christ. So here's a fulfillment of that prophecy in the book of Revelation. Him returning with the white vesture. And that white vesture, eventually, his white robe will be dipped in the blood of Edom. Because Edom is behind the conspiracy. He's placed all these Gentiles in position to continually war against his holy ones, his righteous saints. Hold that. And let's get Isaiah 63. I'm highlighting Edom right now.
Book of Isaiah chapter 63, verse 1.
Come on.
Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah?
Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments of Bozrah? Now you all know. Well, we all know who this is. Who was prophesied, according to the Bible, to take down Edom? Genesis 49. Judah was prophesied to tread the wine fat. So when it says who, well, that's a rhetorical question. We know who this is. Right? He went through Bozrah. Now Bozrah is the capital city of Edom. This is where what you would call their wise men, their intellects, their strategists are, those that their occult minds lie. That's right, the intellect of Esau, the kingdom, the height, those that shape legislation for the world. Christ says he went amongst them, the White House, and amongst where the Queen of England is, and where the Pope resides with their agendas. He went amongst these people, the hierarchy of Edom. Read.
Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? This that is glorious in his apparel.
Glorious in his apparel.
Traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save.
Mighty to save. This is Christ, mighty to save. Savior, Yeshua, have went through Bozrah. He went through the height and the leaders of Esau and found what? Read.
Verse 2. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel?
Well, Christ, your garment was white. Yeshua, your garment was white. Why is it now blood red? Go on.
And thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat.
Come on.
Verse 3. I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me.
He went through all of the leaders of Esau and found that there was not one in position for him to help our people. Not one. With Christ's agenda for our people. He went through all the leaders and governments that were set up through Esau
and found not one person in position was there to help us. Now check that out. This is why I don't believe in this political system. Because Christ went through all of them, the heads of Esau, and found there was not one for him in position to change anything. So when it says, he that goeth through Boyz, you have to look at it as a political construct. That was the capital city of Esau. So any capitals that they establish has the same mentality, the same mindset. It conspires against us. Christ said, I went through all of these politicians, and I found that not one is for my people. If you want to know what Christ is for, just read, just look at his walk. Read the prophecies concerning the people he come for, the meek, the humble, the homeless, the fatherless, those that are suffering. Okay? So he found there was not one in position to help with his agenda, according to prophecy. Read.
Verse 3. I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury.
And I will trample them in my fury. Come on.
And I will stain all my raiment.
Now what we're seeing here is the takedown of Esau through war. This is Christ. His sole aim upon his return is to first do what? Cut off the head of the nations. He must take down the head who's controlling the nations first. And through that, it's easy. All crowns would be taken from the rest of the Gentiles, because why? The head crown has been taken. So the Gentiles are just role players. They'll bow and worship or follow who's ever in charge. So now they've been double crossed. Once Christ take off the head of Esau or their power, all the other nations will hand over their crowns to Christ. Esau is the key guy that's behind all war. But guess what? Our God is a God of war. Our God loves it. Okay. Let's get that real quick in Exodus 15.
The Lord is a man of war.
He's a what?
The Lord.
So Esau has met more than his match. Christ is coming back to take crowns. He's taking heads. Starting with Esau. Starting with Edom. You have something else, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
The book of Isaiah, the 10th chapter, showing you the pomp and the pride of nations who are risen up by the power of the Most High. Because
what up, man?
That sets up nations and gives them kingdoms. And it's the Most High that tears down.
Good, man.
The book of Daniel. Let's see an example of a nation, a king who gets proud and believes that it's by his power that he obtains.
I was missing too.
This is the book of Isaiah chapter 10, verse number 13. For you said, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasure. This is a powerful king. and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. In my hand have found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one that gathereth eggs that are
Lord, have mercy.
I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or feet. Shall the axe, this is the Most High speaking now, shall the axe boast itself against him that...
I don't think your nigga's slow.
Or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it? As if the rod shall shake itself against them that lift it up. So in other words, the Most High is comparing the kings of the nations to tools that he's using.
Exactly.
So now the tool has been exalted, he's being used, and now he's boasting himself, saying it's by my power that I'm cutting this tree. No.
Yeah.
You'll be asked that the Most High is using to cut down the nation.
Exactly. Because these nations are our prophecies and understanding our Bible.
Yeah, in my career, killing like
off of these political scenarios that have been set in the
like I'm that nigga in my career.
On that, believing it's all about them and protecting their people and their oil resources and what I need to protect my country, not realizing they're only being used as a tool. Like
get out here, like no.
The Most High shaping their ideas one against another,
right?
And weaken them before Christ comes to take them all out. And see, and this is why the Most High also says, it tell you in the scriptures,
I already know.
when Christ mentions that vengeance is the Lord's. See, and this is why you'll never see us with any
what you had last year
of any type of payback or personal
you can make a shot crazy post score.
Gentile nation. You'll never hear that come out of our mouth because that's against the Bible. If we talk about vengeance and what's going to go down, we're going to prophesy what's happening according to the word. Now,
told you that stretch playmaker.
To anyone that's against the doctrine of Christ. Okay?
Yeah.
That's Christ's position.
The one I made was a power forward.
And I really want to emphasize that because I'm going to tell you, brother, the Gentile nations and Esau, those who in power, are not like us and don't think like us. Sometimes we do a lot of talking.
The best?
What's cracking? On the streets and talking. You don't realize how
I'm broadcasting.
When Esau hears a threat, he takes the threat seriously. He's not like us with some idle words. When he hear you talking about those things, what he's thinking, if you had the opportunity, you would actually.
I got to put on different clothes after that one.
You don't think like us. So we put things out there and cats talking about what they're going to do to Esau and all that. What he's thinking is that's in your mind now to do. If the opportunity.
All right, I got you, bro. What's your name on Twitch?
Start putting things in place based off of that because Esau, the power that be, they're paranoid. Now I'll be telling brothers, you got to be careful on those streets. Say it. I say it over and over. What you going to do and what's going to happen. Just teach the Bible. Teach those prophecies and let the Lord say, vengeance is the Lord's. Because they'd be like, okay, I'll tell you what, we'll handle him when he gets back. We'll work with that. But dude, you're here now. I'm about to come up on you based on your words. Esau have never backed out of a threat. Throughout all of history, when you read the Bible, he's preemptive against his enemies. That's what the wars in the Middle East are about. Well, they're preemptive wars. In case terrorism rise, I'm going to take down the country so that a whole country, so that terrorism don't ferment or ideologies don't continue in that region.
That's the point. He's fighting against the ideology itself.
All right, I got you, bro.
Or could possibly lead.
Exactly. So that's why I tell brothers, be careful. Brothers be out in the street. It sounds hard and it sounds deep. It sounds like these guys have courage and all that. Esau, man, the power that be on a different level.
Let me do it now before I
They take threats. They take threats seriously, and they extinguish threats politically. You'll never know who came against you. You'll never know who was behind getting you out of the way. That's how it goes. I'm gonna tell you, man. But the Most High, let me tell you, and if it wasn't for the Most High's prophecies against Esau, he would rule forever. No nation on earth can seek out how he calculates in war. No nation. And Esau is looking at everybody else reading that book from China, The Art of War. And he's laughing. Because he'd rather you believe that they are the masters of it. He's not going Esau ain't going to come out with a book, The Art of War. That's part of his warfare.
Right.
Secrecy. In darkness. Not he appears as the weak one. The one with no power. What was that movie, Unusual Suspects? Esau's that guy. What's his name? Sosa or whatever his name was? Kaiser Sosa. The Unusual Suspects. The guy where everyone thinks weak and sitting there like this. And he's limping. He come in a wheelchair. He's that guy. He's not going to give you no tips on the art of war. He'll make you believe the Chinese people have the art of war. There's no one on earth who thinks like the powers of evil. Only the Most High can reveal his mind to the elect. If you read this Bible, you have to understand this Bible to know how Esau thinks. Okay? Ready?
Quick precept on that.
Go on.
The book of Obadiah, verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?
How are his hidden things sought up? Like, who can really resolve or go into the mindset of Esau's agenda? Who? No one in this earth.
The best Lazar. How many followers you got?
What makes us special? We understand who Esau is, according to the Bible.
What happened?
And what he wants, according to the Bible. See? We understand what he wants. So he's been this anonymous.
I see a profile with a truck on it.
Hiding his true identity on purpose, because when you figure out who he is, the things of Esau is sought up. You'll understand what he desired. Full power and rulership that was promised to Abraham.
I don't think I see yours.
The other nations aren't even looking at that. They're not even looking at it on that level. Because if they knew what his desires were in the beginning, they would have never colluded with him. Master warrior. Speaking of that,
no.
we're going to Joel in a moment, but I want to go into the prophecies real quick.
No, I can't. I don't see it, bro.
You know what? I have other nations to cover, so unfortunately, I want to go soon into the 12 princes under the eagle in the book of Artizt, where it's the lion, which is Christ, talking to the eagle, telling the eagle what will come of him eventually. He will have power for a time. Talking to those 12 feathers of that eagle, the 12 wings of that eagle. They do have power for a time, but there's a judgment where Christ in the spirit is speaking to the Edomite, the eagle himself. But I'm going to go into that. I don't have no time to break down. I have to break down that whole chapter in who's Edom. So I can't do that right now. Right? Because that will take at least
No, I can't find it, bro. You got to send it to me or something.
But now, let's go into real quick Revelations not Revelation 17. Let's go into Joel, the 3rd
I
chapter.
see one with no profile picture, and then I see one with
Yes, get that first.
Jeremiah 25.
Yes.
a truck profile picture.
Book of Jeremiah 25. I'll start in verse number 14. In fact, verse 13. Jeremiah 25, verse 13.
No,
And I
you
will bring
tripping.
upon that land all my words which I
No, you
pronounced
tripping.
against it, even all that is written in this book which Jeremiah has prophesied against all nations. For many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of them also, and I will recompense them according to their deeds, and according to the works of their own hands. For thus saith the Lord God of Israel unto me, take the wine of the cup of this fury at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send thee.
That was you just playing?
And they shall drink, and be moved, and be mad.
You got a San
because
Antonio? Oh,
of the
no.
sword that I will send among them. Then took I the cup at the Lord's hand, and made all the nations to drink unto whom the Lord hath sent me, to wit, Jerusalem and the cities of Judah and the kings thereof and the princes thereof, to make them a desolation and astonishment and an hissing and a curse, as it is this day. Pharaoh king of Egypt and his servants and his princes and all his people, and all the mingled people, and all the kings of Uz, and all the kings of the land of the Philistines, in Ashkelon and Zah, in Ekron, and the
Nothing wrong with
remnant
them
of
mechanics,
Ashdod,
man.
Edom, and Moab, and all the children of Ammon, and all the kings of Tyrus, and the kings of Zidon, and the kings of the isles which are beyond the sea, Dedan and Tema and Buz, and all that are in the utmost corners.
So this is the Most High raising up all the nations.
Yeah, you
He
way
says in the
past
book of
late.
Obadiah, he laid a wound against them, and he also talks about Esau being greatly despised. Well, as a pretext of this, all these other nations have begun to build up their own arms for what they call defense. And as a pretext of that, the Most High is now raising them all up. They all have their little political positions of why they're doing it, but it's the Most
Yeah,
High
the
working.
best
He's working with
Lazar.
them. Okay, you,
When I put
you
it
mad
in
about that
Twitch,
pipeline that got hit? Go ahead, get worked up.
Right.
You mad
It ain't
about
pull
that
up.
ambassador that just got shot in Iran? Get worked up. You worried? He's working up each nation and just getting each of them ready to rise. And at the same time, the Bible prophesies, they become a distraction for themselves. At the same time, the Most High is waking us up.
I'll try it one more time.
We're working in the undercurrent.
Nah, I'm right next
Come up
to
under
you.
this hedge. Come with us. Building that ark right up under. They've built their own destruction, their own diversion.
Nah,
War.
it ain't pop up again.
It's the Most High working. Because as long as they have that uniform mindset to destroy us, because that have been their singular focus for eons, for years. For thousands of years, their singular focus was, okay, we are together, and our sole existence is to keep the 12 tribes of Israel down, enslaved, downtrodden, dependent on us. That was their singular focus. But now they got their little political spats, one against another, and they're taking their eye off the ball.
I'm at Twine was
We're
good
so
too.
destitute, they don't even have to focus on us or look at us anymore. That we're so
He was out there
downtrodden.
breaking.
The Most High have them exactly where He wants them.
Twine.
It's to a degree in which
Yeah.
they believe so much into their in their programming against us. They've forgotten who we were and what our potential is. They're forgotten. And the Most High, while they're doing all that, the Most High is just waking up the lion. All over the earth, the lion is being woken up and
Yeah,
staring
you gotta
at
keep going to
everyone else.
practice. Was this dude alright?
I'm gonna tell you.
T Ken?
Go on. Just finish reading.
Yes, sir. Jeremiah 25, verse 24. And all the kings of Arabia, and all the kings of the mingled people that dwell in the desert, and all the kings of Zimri, and the kings of Elam, and all the kings of the Medes, and all the kings of the north, far and near, one with another.
Sick of this nigga,
And all
man. I
the
be
kingdoms
hating
of the
niggas
world
like
which
this.
are upon the face of the earth, the king of Shishak shall drink after them.
Like, you can't even shoot,
Therefore thou shalt
nigga.
say unto them, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Drink ye and be drunken, and spew and fall, and rise no more, because of the sword which I will send among you.
The war. The sword that I will send amongst you. Now, the Most High is saying,
Right, that's what I'm saying. This nigga trying to hop on, yeah, finish it.
war. After this, you Gentile nations will have no more power. No power or kingdom for your nation in particular.
Nah, bro.
Forever.
This nigga's a
No
shooting
power
guard.
from this day going forward.
What are you
After
gonna
these
do in the
wars,
paint?
whatever power that country
Nah.
used to hold will no longer exist, according to prophecy. We just have to do as much as we can to get our people under that head in that ark to withstand the fire that's coming through. But nothing will be left, folks, for the nations
Get Trey Burke.
to rebuild. The Bible tell you that. There's nothing that they could rebuild
Yeah.
for themselves after this. Read.
Verse 28. And it shall be, if they refuse to take the cup at thine hand to drink, then shalt thou say unto them, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, Ye shall certainly drink. For lo, I will bring evil, I will begin to bring evil on the city that is called by my name, and shall ye be utterly unpunished?
He says, if I can do this to my people, you think you're going to go on unpunished, Gentiles? Because you have some Gentiles who refuse to drink the cup. They're like, I'm not going to war. I know what this means for us. It can harm our people. The Most High say, you're going to drink this. You're going into this war. Because if you, it doesn't matter if you try to be diplomatic and try to settle things diplomatically or try to hold off war and say, well, listen, you can come in and inspect my weapons, whatever. But the Most High is going to just push you more. He'll just have somebody else shot or killed. He'll let the Gentiles agitate you even more.
No, that dude was sorry.
He'll allow that to happen to the degree in which you say, listen, either I go into this war, or the nations, or these nations who are against me are going to roll over me anyway. So eventually they say, Lord, where's that cup? And they drink the cup and say, I'm in this war too. Let's go. So you have nations who are trying to deal diplomatically and try to, all bets are off. Or you have the nations who are trying to give a bribe. Or let me call in Farrakhan and see if I can help some black people in Chicago, and let me give you let me stand up and say what slavery was done in America without giving my part in enslaving them. You can see the Gentile nations now are talking all good about black people now. So now they're trying to give us a bribe. Listen, that's your cup. We drunk ours. Okay? Don't try to give us all the information and try to tell us what you've always known now.
Right.
After all of your empires were built off of the back sweat tears of our forefathers. Don't try to give us a bribe to come in and drink this cup with you. No, I'm not fighting no war for none of you cats. This is not my war. Okay? It's not my war. So I'm not drinking. I know what happens to the people that go in war, in this next war. Neither me or my sons will fight in this war that's coming. Because this war that's coming, this new military they're bringing forth, is the military that will next fight against our Lord and Savior. Let your children drink this cup. I'm going to go down the nations. It's breaking down the nations who have to drink that cup. You must go into that war.
Man, what the?
That's your suicide mission. That's your kamikaze mission. Not my children. Okay? And listen, my son, my son will be in the studio rapping about a hire or something. He's not going into none of your wars. This is your cup. And if you want to know why, go to Psalms 83 and see the agreement your father signed in blood against the children of Israel.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to get that pass.
Verse 29. For lo, I begin to bring evil on the city which is called by my name, and shall ye be utterly unpunished? Ye shall not be unpunished, for I will call a sword upon all
Man, why is he taking the ball out?
the Lord of hosts. Therefore prophesy thou against all these words, and say unto them, the Lord shall roar from on high, and utter his voice from his holy habitation, and he shall mightily
I'm gonna do it when you do it.
And he shall give a shout, and they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth.
Wow, man, what is this nigga we playing with?
Part 1.
3 levels.
And we'll go into part 2 in one moment.
What the For real. Like, that don't even make sense right there.
I will start lagging now.
I didn't even, what'd you switch for? No, that was a good pickup. Man, oh, that was gross.
What?
Everything you did.
What I do? What I did, bro?
What you mean? Right, pass the ball. That's a steal. Oh, that's my fault. Come on, Slim.
My bad, bro. Nah, I ain't know what you was on, bro. I was wide open.
I wasn't on you running past me.
I was stuck. Cause you wasn't passing.
Right, the nigga was shook.
Go ahead, bro. That's a steal, bro. Come on, man. Extra, man.
Oh my gosh.
Let's throw the ball, man.
You know I don't just throw the ball.
Nah, I need that.
What? That game was too hard. Man.
That's a learning curve, bro. Ain't like last year, man. What, a year before that, a year before that.
Oh, okay.
If I would came in when it first started, I would have been there, been through all this, figured out what my need was and all that. But I can't say low, bro. So I'm trying to figure it out. And y'all already know what's going on.
Right. I hear you.
I just felt like, man, the dumb boy off Boyz in the hood, he's like, man, you sorry.
You stupid.
You got that ball.
All right.
Right.
Thank you for your patience. When you get a chance, just go to Amos, the first chapter, real quick. Well, the elder lawyer, it'll be right out. Amos 1.
Oh. Oh. Who got a cowboy hat on? Oh. So he in Texas somewhere?
There's a sister over in the Middle East who claimed to be the gathering of Jordan or whatever. Never was a part of our church. Was under Ben Immortal for years in Israel.
Nigga just be wanting the ball,
follow
huh?
our lessons and target those who she know.
No!
Who she knew learned under the Gathering of Christ Church. Because we're the only ones teaching, really, when you look in the earth, that eventually we have to leave Babylon. She was already in Israel and needed some extra help to help her sustain after her failed trip under Ben Immortal.
Ah, that's a
So she
steal.
thought that she would cleave to the Gathering of Christ Church and use Jordan.
Come on, man. Thank you.
to
Thank
herself
you.
by claiming she's with the Gathering of Christ Church and targeting people who would leave America. So she set up a refuge and a business over there.
Ah.
with
Get my
not
man.
a
Get my
business,
man.
but
Get my man. Somebody get my man. Oh.
an agreement with the travel
Good
agency
D. Good
to
D.
get fearful people who
Oh,
don't
bad
really
oh.
understand
Bad oh.
to go over there with her into Jordan. And she have all her videos tied to us as if she's a part of our church. And I warn people, if you go over there, understand the prophecies that will fall on you. You're going to die over there in this war. So, let me go here to show you the prophecies concerning all of that. She's taking them right into, let me tell you, and to some degree, people would be better off. You'll be better off getting to a border in America and going into South America or something like that.
Why?
Than to go into the belly of the inferno that's prophesied to come into that region. Now the people that are in different parts of Egypt and all that, or near the Red Sea, they'll be fine. But the nuclear, I'm gonna tell you right now, the heart of the war is right there. So whether
that's why I followed them.
Or in Israel, or going into those regions with the countries who conspired to trap us in 70 AD.
Wow.
All of those regions are to be judged by fire. And I'm going to show you the fire in a moment. You follow that girl over there, you'll be following her to your own demise. And I said it before. And when people get over there, she gets what she's supposed to get from them, and she gets ghosts. They don't even see her over there. So I told people a long time ago that you can go over there if you want. And they yeah, shalom family, yeah, everything is fine, and I want to show you the meals we make today, and it's so fine over here, you can buy stuff cheap. Let me show you what the Most High says. Let's go to Amos 3 real quick, Amos 1.
With Amos, the first chapter.
No, Amos 2 is the one I want.
Amos, the second chapter, and the first verse. Thus saith the Lord.
It's a lot of this is good. Hold on. There's a lot of good stuff here.
Early, man, what the?
Matter of fact, yeah, let's start at Amos 1. I'm sorry, let's go.
Amos chapter 1, verse 1. The words of Amos, who was among the herdsmen of Tekoa, which he saw concerning Israel in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, 2 years before the earthquake.
Keep going.
Said, the Lord will roar from Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the inhabitants of the shepherds shall mourn, or the habitations of the shepherds shall mourn, and the top of Carmel shall wither.
The top of Carmel shall wither. Come on.
Verse 3. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Damascus, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have threshed Gilead with threshing instruments of iron.
Come on.
But I will send a fire into the house of Haman,
Lord have mercy, man.
Of Ben-Hadad.
Like I just had this jumper, man.
Damascus, and cut off the inhabitant from the plain of Avon, and him that holdeth the scepter from the house of Eden. And the people of Syria shall go into captivity unto Kir, saith the Lord.
Read.
Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof.
He says, for these transgressions he will not turn away the punishment.
Keep selling. Oh,
these prophecies are an assurity, according to God, against these nations in those regions. Read.
I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they carried away captive the whole captivity, to deliver them up to Edom.
To deliver them up to Edom. So Edom didn't just put us in captivity by himself. All the nations were complicit to give us up to Edom. See that?
Jump out.
Read.
Verse 7. But I will send a fire on the wall of Gaza, which shall devour the palaces thereof, and I will cut off the inhabitant from Ashdod, and him that holdeth the scepter from Ashkelon, and I will turn my hand against Ekron, and the remnants of the Philistines shall perish, saith the Lord God.
Read.
Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom, and remembered not the brotherly covenant.
And they remembered not the brotherly covenant. See? They remembered not the brotherly covenant. You have to bless Israel, not curse Israel. And even, guess what? Even the Most High in his righteousness gave us rules. He said, listen, I know this happened because of your disobedience, but you are not to abhor an Edomite because he's your brother. You still aren't supposed to hate him.
I said top of the key too.
And you're not supposed to hate an Egyptian because the Egyptians helped us when we were strangers in the land.
So here it is, we're walking this earth with a code of love while the other nations are conspiring to kill us off all together. We've always been that way.
115.
Why don't we just forgive? You don't understand, that's inherent in the spirit of Christ in us. Regardless of what people do to us, we as a people walk in the spirit of love. We remember as a people, as a whole, some level of brotherly covenant. They forgot that.
Yeah, before you do that, I'll say use Trey Burke.
Read.
Verse 10. But I will send a fire on the
Because
wall
this
of
jumper
Tyrus,
better
which
than
shall
Trey
devour
Burke.
the palaces thereof. Thus saith the Lord. With 3 transgressions
I can make a jumper.
I will not turn away the punishment thereof. Because he did
You
receive
can't.
his brother with his
You
and did
talking
act
about?
of all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually.
Yeah.
He kept his wrath forever.
And he kept his wrath.
No, you can't make a jumper yet. I can.
I'm coming. This is what the Most High says.
Right.
Prophetically, I'm coming after you.
Yeah, before I did that, I had Trey Burke.
Brother Jacob. Next.
Verse 12. But I will send a fire upon Teman, which shall devour the palaces of Bozrah.
See that? That's the capital
Yeah, it's
city.
just at the
Read.
Verse 13.
at the
Thus
highest
saith the Lord,
point.
For 3 transgressions of the children of Ammon, and
Yeah.
for 4 I will
It
not
ain't
turn
slow.
away the punishment thereof.
When you deal with Ammon,
You'll be able to tell when you're supposed to let it go, is what I'm
those
saying.
that live in Jordan. And you
Right.
know what's going to happen to those who go to Jordan, who listen to these people? Ammon is Jordan. Read.
Because they have ripped up the women with child
Man,
of
I'm
Gilead,
down.
that they might enlarge their border. But I will kindle a fire
Oh,
in
he
the wall
ready to
of
shoot.
Rabbah, and it shall devour the palaces thereof with shouting in the day of battle,
Watch him. Yeah,
with
good
a
one.
tempest in the day of the whirlwind, and their king shall go into captivity.
Man, know how y'all
he
let
and
that
his
nigga
princes
hit
together,
that.
saith the Lord.
See that? So a fire is coming there, and I'm going to describe that fire in one moment. Let's go to the 2nd chapter in the 1st verse.
Book of Amos, chapter 2, verse 1.
Good.
Thus saith the Lord.
Yeah.
For 3 transgressions of Moab, and for 4 I will
Right here,
not
right here, right here.
the punishment thereof, because he burned the bones of the king of
Boy, you be messing
Now,
stuff
when you
up. You
go
know
into
that.
Moab, Moab is predominantly the
Bro, I
Palestinians.
was finna throw the oop.
This is why the Palestinians are suffering today. These were the areas who had brotherly love in connection with being the children of Abraham, who betrayed us.
Forgot he a
In
shooter.
the day that Edom began to come against us in Jerusalem in 70 AD, they all betrayed us, our brothers. So the Lord tells us here, Moab, and for 4, read, I will not turn away the punishment.
I gotta get this down. How was that late?
Read.
Because he burned the bones of the king of Edom into lime.
Alright, we gotta stop playing.
But I will send fire upon
I
Moab.
will send what upon Moab?
But I will send fire upon Moab.
I will send fire upon Moab. So we're telling brothers and sisters, it's the same thing.
That's a steal.
You can go to Jordan if you want. We've warned people. It's stuff going
Good
on over there. I've received reports that I can't even tell you what's going on with people who went over there. But
Y'all
she had
in them
this
dumb
gift over
layups. I
there
don't know
to
what y'all
recycle
doing.
New people who don't have no idea what's happening. So she's taking the people who are
That's the park layup. Everybody got that unless you take it off.
What's really going on and targeting them and work on them for months at a time to get them over there. But I'm reading what's going to happen over there, folks. I know exactly where the Most High said we are to be.
Oh, why?
It's all said and done. We're going to be in the same areas we were in coming out of Egypt. We're going to be at the tongue of the Red Sea, at the borders of Arabia. And right now, no one can go there because the whole area is gated off by the Saudi Arabians. The 12 tribes of Israel is still there. The area where the
That's
bull
a steal.
is still there. The dark mountain of smoke of
Yeah, I think you
Sinai,
can,
the
but
mountain is still black. It's gated off. Even the Arabs who are Muslims know not to touch that area, operating in the wrong spirit. At this stand against the church, operating against us, and they're online
Watch that,
with other people to get them over into their areas so that they can sustain themselves.
Oh, that's
and
a
then they
steal.
recycle. When the person figure out what's going on, it's too late. You've already given her the money and all
Good
that,
deal.
and you're just trying to survive yourself out there. And by the time you figure out what happened, she's already working on the next person who don't really understand what she's about. And she's made a living off of this. Okay? So I'm just warning you. Finish reading that, Lloyd.
Yes, sir. Verse number 6. Thus
Wow.
saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Israel, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they sold the righteous for silver, and the poor for a pair of shoes.
Nigga.
That pant after the dust of the earth on the head of the poor, and turn aside the way of the meek. And a man and his father will go in unto the same maid to profane my holy name. And they lay themselves down upon clothes to...
once I get my jumper, bro, it's over.
Laid to pledge by
I'm supposed to hit those, bro.
and they drink the wine
I'm supposed to
of
green
them in the
those.
house of their God.
And it's talking about
My bad.
here, where the father and son will go into the same maid. This is the perversions that happens continually, even in our communities. Molestation and all that. A guy dealing with the mother and the daughter. This is why the Most High began to punish us. Now, to stay in the context of what we're dealing with, let's show you the fire the Most High has prophesied to be used in this war. Let's go to Isaiah 54 and 6.
I love it. Mm.
54
Yeah, it was. Good deed.
and 16.
My bad.
Isaiah chapter 54, verse number 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire.
He says, I've created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. It's the Most High who put it in their minds to get the science of how to split an atom.
That was gross.
And that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have
and I've created the waster to destroy. He created an instrument that that'll be used.
If you would have dunked it the first time, but you did another pump fake after you hop stuff.
Intercontinental ballistic missile.
Oh.
The Most High gave that idea to the nation to use against each other. He says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth.
I like y'all niggas.
I did that.
I did this to you.
And that bringeth forth an instrument of work, and I created the waster to destroy. But check this out.
Jump.
What does it say about us in this? Should we worry about these missiles? No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. And every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment, thou shalt.
Man, what is this nigga doing, man?
Of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, this as Christ saith the anointed. So he says, listen, don't worry about the missiles that the Most High put in their minds to make. Those missiles aren't for you, children of Israel, the remnant, the elect, who is saved. They're not for you. No weapon that's formed will prosper against us. It's for them. See this? Now let's go to Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. Jeremiah 50 and 14.
Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 14. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about.
So this is the plan. Right now. The nations, the Middle Eastern nations, the world powers that are against the Western world is doing what? Read.
Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow.
All thee that bend the bow. See, back then, they didn't have any type of technology we see today that's fired out, in which can go from one continent to the next. So the prophets could only describe it with the weaponry that was in play at their present time, during their time. So what they were seeing was nuclear missiles being shot like they shoot bow and arrow. Read.
All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows.
Spare no arrows, that instrument, that fire. Read.
For she hath sinned against the Lord.
For she hath sinned against the Almighty. Read.
Verse 15. Shout against her round about.
Oh, fear. Okay.
The foundations are fallen.
If it's fear, I got you.
Thrown down, for it is the vengeance of the Lord. Take vengeance upon her, as she have done, do unto her.
So the Most High have put in the hearts of the nations to destroy the daughter of Babylon, according to prophecy. A domino that must fall. Let's go to the 25th verse.
Yes, sir. Verse 25. The Lord hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his
Let's say you got
indignation.
19 followers.
For this is the work of the Lord power of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Come against her from the utmost border, open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing be left, nothing of her be left.
Let what?
Fear.
Let nothing of her be left.
Let nothing of her be left.
Why not?
So these missiles are going to come over into the Western world first. I'm going to show you. It's going to start in the Middle East.
Nigga, one of them niggas will come.
Then it's going to go into America, and then in every high place in the world. Different parts of London.
You know exactly what
France,
about him.
where the Eiffel Tower is, where the Statue of Liberty is. It's going to go into all these high monuments.
Man, this nigga win percentage is 16%.
Then those missiles are going to shoot over into America, and nothing will be left. Now the king of Edom is going to flee into Kittim, like the Bible says.
So now
Then
they
go
gonna
into
mess
Cyprus, and then go, and after
one.
that, back to Rome. Until the dust clears. That's their plan. And they will rule for a short space. But during that time, they'll be looking for us in the wilderness. Right now, their focus is taking down the other countries who could contend against them, politically and otherwise. But Esau needs to take power with Satan as the king of this earth, once and for all, without sharing it. After you've insulated that power,
But you want to go to the
he's
east?
going to aim his mind against us in the wilderness. That's how it's going to go down. But right now, specifically, the Bible is prophesying America
So like right this second.
with the nuclear capability that's aimed against it in our present time. Read.
Verse number 27.
Yes.
Slay all her bullocks, let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto
Period.
them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation.
The time of their visitation, it was prophesied. That land that spiritual.
Oh, so he just dropping it off?
When that sin comes to its height,
That's even better.
The Most High did what? He rained fire down on it. When they began